Tottenham update. And first and foremost, before we properly get into it, Martin Dubravka has been given his squad number. Still no squad numbers for various players, but Dubravka's been given it, and he gets Randall Kolo Muani's number in 39. So, yeah, a big player to emulate.
Well, I think Dubravka's got a better chance of scoring more goals in it.
Probably.
Let's face it, from goal. We all remember the Paul Robinson incident. Yeah, so let's hope he wears it with a lot more success than Muani did.
Yeah, let's hope so, eh? Let's hope so. But if you bring up the X, you'll see a picture of him with the holding up that beautiful pink shirt with the number on the back. I think you just need to refresh it. There you go. Martin Dubravka, our new number 39. And if you scroll a bit further down, you'll see a certain somebody has rocked up to Hotspur Way. No, just a bit further. A bit further. There we go.
There we
Jan Paul van Hecker. He's here. He's beautiful. He's holding up the shirt finally, and not one that Mickey van der Ven had to give him on holiday at the World Cup. It's there at Hotspur Way or at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, wherever they do their media duties. And I don't know. Do you reckon we see him at all tonight?
I reckon he'll be on the bench. He would have just joined. Actually, who knows? He would have just joined us for training, like literally today or yesterday, wouldn't he? He might be on the bench. Maybe it is a bit too soon. But the most important thing is we saw it, obviously, when Spurs announced it, when, like you said, when Mickey gave him the shirt. It is just nice to see him at N17 actually there and be able to do the media stuff. So it is a fantastic sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, it is. I hope we see him. And yeah, someone makes a good point. If he's back, does that mean that Mickey van der Ven is back as well? So well, I don't know. It remains to be seen. No sightings of Mickey van der Ven just yet. But we do have a completed deal to speak about. We spoke a lot about it yesterday, and that is Will Lankshear has completed his move from Tottenham to Middlesbrough. Look, in terms of monetary value, it's an unbelievable deal for the club. Tottenham have said that we've reached an agreement with Middlesbrough for the transfer of Will Lankshear. All the best for your next chapter in your career, Will. Middlesbrough will pay £10 million up front with a £10 million in potential add-ons for the striker. Tottenham have also included a 20% sell-on clause and matching rights for any future bids for Will Lankshear. George Sessions says that Will Lankshear would have gone out on loan. However, a £20 million package was too good to decline for Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, I mean, it is sad to see him go, because obviously me and you had quite high hopes for him, and, you know, even thought potentially he could make an impact this season as maybe the third striker. And we all know with Dom Solanke's injury record, maybe he would have seen more minutes. But he's gone. Spurs have got a good fee for him. I'm gutted actually to see him go, especially with the lack of number 9s on the market right now. But what's your reaction on it?
Yeah, Ben, we spoke about this on an update, and I wish, like you, had been alone, or he'd stayed behind. Preferably, I thought alone, go see what he could do at a challenging championship team, because we saw what he did at a relegated team, and I think it's a big shame. I think it's a big shame. I actually think of all these youngsters that we think might be geared for success, he would one I would say that I really like the look of and thought would. And I'm just going to quickly refer to what I sent you, Paul O'Keefe tweet, with everyone going on about the youth and the youngsters being sold. First of all, before I talk about the Paul O'Keefe tweet, I did it on ChatGPT. I was like, can you give me the youth products that have left Spurs within the last 10 years and where they've gone to? And obviously a massive proportion of them have gone on to do diddly squat. But then Paul said, which I retweeted, was, our fans need to decide what they want. You can't be screaming you want a 70, 80, 90 million pound plus signing for a centre forward, then complain when Scarlett's path is blocked. We've had one anomaly in the last 20 odd years. Not everyone is a Harry Kane. A lot are there just to make up the numbers, in truth. And he's bang on. And like you said, Spurs were prepared to make it alone. But when £20 million comes up, we've got to remember, this guy hasn't really featured in the Premier League at all. And you get that kind of money thrown at you.
Yeah.
If you're going to get that kind of money thrown at you, you're not going to turn it down, are you? The great thing is the I think was it match the bid or buyback clause, whatever it is. I think he could. I think he could be part of a promoted Middlesbrough team, and we'll see him in the Premier League a lot sooner than he thinks. And hopefully one day he'll be back banging in the goals in Lillywhite. A disappointment, but we have to understand it. If we want better, we need to accommodate for better. So, what can we say?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a few ways you can look at it. There's one take that's that, but there's another one being like, are we selling too many youngsters right now? Because we've bought, all these youngsters in, and they all seemingly have a bright future. Luka Vuskovic, Lucas Bergvall. Obviously, Bergvall's not gone yet, but there's big rumours of him going. Will Lankshear as well. Could we have swayed away from taking the money for Will Lankshear and just persisted with the loan, especially because he's a number 9 and because of the number 9 market?
All will be revealed September the 1st. If we honestly, we can't. Honestly, we don't know what's coming in. We did know housekeeping is going to get done and players are going to go out. We see a lot of fans going, well, why haven't we got rid of Sarr? Why haven't we got rid of this? And that's right, but we can't just. It's not. Okay, we do this in the pecking order. The clubs need to come in and make the approaches, or Mawson or Lange, who's still in, needs to do that networking to get these opportunities. And I agree with you that the number 9 market is so saturated and so sparse of identifying talent. And if you do want a big one, you're going to have to pay big money. We'll see come September the 1st. I've got full confidence that we're going to sort this front three out. And yes, this is me saying it, but I have full faith that Spurs will address these issues with the summer indicators that we've had, but only time will tell.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ashley Phillips. There's been a rumour about him today that's come out, and apparently Alan Nixon is saying that Middlesbrough are now making a move to sign Ashley Phillips on a permanent deal. I can't remember who it was, but we brought it on the update a few days ago saying that Ashley Phillips will be made available for a permanent transfer. I mean, Middlesbrough really spending that Morgan Rogers money at the right place, at the shop at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you and Simeon talking about it on a live show as well, and he gave you a list, or there was a list of players, and like you, the only one that I would want to keep, I think Ashley Phillips is destined for great things. I've said it since we signed him. I think he is going to be a top centre back. And with Vuskovic now going, he is one in the centre back. Obviously, Dorrington's going, whatever. I would have loved to have kept him and sent him out on loan. But like we said, there is no sentimentality anymore. And if they're not going to play and deserve it, like they're not going to feature, they will go. And I wish it was a loan. But if he goes, I honestly think Phillips will be an England international. He is I think great things for Ashley Phillips.
He very well could be. But again, he's 21 years of age, older than Luka Vuskovic. If he wants to get first team football at Tottenham, he's going to have to wait a while because we've got, Kevin Danso, we've got, Jan Paul van Hecker. That's the kind of right side lockdown for quite some time. And also you've got the darling of the academy in that position as well, and Junai Beifeld. And I think Junai is obviously that much younger, so he's got more time on his hands, who it can be a bit of a handover at times when Junai comes into the team. So I completely understand the Ashley Phillips one, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I hope, and I'm impressed with Spurs. Not only are they getting players out the door like we've never seen it from youth, from Deadwood or players that haven't featured. They've been very smart with their youngsters with these buybacks or match options, and I'm sure they'll put one in for Ashley Phillips. But how nice is it? We're at a time now where these youngsters might have to make way because we have too much quality.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Never been seen before at Tottenham Hotspur.
It's such refreshing times. We can all say, like, people know I'm a massive fan of Kevin Danso. I love that man.
You should have said.
And some people will say he's I'm very misunderstood when I'm speaking about Spurs. I think he's such a quality defender. He has his moments or things he needs to improve, but you look at the players that are there, and we have just got pure in defence. That's 4 with Senesi as well. It's such a high quality quartet that is just so refreshing to say, do you know what? I can't see a way through because our our four choices are that strong.
Yeah.
So long may this kind of thing continue all over the pitch.
How much do you reckon we get for him? I was thinking about this earlier. I mean, it could be around, when you take in add-ons included, it could be around the £15 million mark, something around there.
Well, you look at what Lankshear's just gone for.
Yeah.
And this guy's had two stellar seasons for Stoke. Stoke haven't had the best of seasons. I think he made it into Team of the Year
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So he's done that. So surely he's going to be worth at least that.
Because I think, obviously, he's a centre-back, Will's a striker, and strikers will obviously naturally be more. So, yeah, I reckon he'll go for like 15 million, around about that, with add-ons included.
And we bought him for 3.
Yeah.
Again, like we said when we did the update a couple of days ago, Spurs are moving on players at a profit, non-stop. Apart from the Dragusin losing out a little bit because of the injuries and lack of playing time, Spurs are actually selling these players for profit, and we'll go back to the squad so we can spend these big fees and the wages. So exciting times.
Yeah, look, everyone said that Spurs need to be better sellers, and I mean, that is some jump to the way we're doing it now. You're talking about over 100 million on already, and we haven't even sold anyone significant yet, really.
Yep. Apart from Luca, but I mean, from first team last season,
Luca hasn't kicked a ball for Tottenham. I mean,
it's insane. Like I said, Bergvall, it looks like that will go through at some point. I haven't even mentioned Romero. We wanted change on the pitch, and that didn't just mean players coming in. It meant getting players out and getting good value, and they're certainly doing that. They are certainly doing it.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Romero. Let's talk about Romero then, because there's been a couple of updates. Romano saying that Romero will 100% leave Tottenham this summer. Story confirmed last week. Inter Milan working on a possible deal as direct talks with the players' camp will follow soon. As revealed last week, Barcelona consider Romero as an option only in case a centre-back exits. George Sessions thinks the price will be around £40 million for Cuti Romero. And Spurs Journo is saying that Romero is open to Inter. However, there is a hold-off because Barca is still in the mix and Barcelona is Romero's first choice. We know of his desire to go play in Spain. Yep. But if no offers come in, then obviously he can't go there. But, you know, I guess he's using Inter Milan as maybe a bit of a fallback option. And, yeah, there was reports. I mean, Himothy was actually messaging me earlier today saying that he's got unconfirmed reports that he's already agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. So, yeah, he's just waiting for that to be confirmed. But yeah, it looks as though this Romero stuff is starting to heat up a little bit. You know, over the World Cup, I was thinking, you know, there's not much interest here. What's going to happen with Romero? But now you're starting to see clubs really put their foot in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, now the World Cup players and the World Cup is over, it will heat up, obviously. I'm just delighted the rumour that we were speaking about Little Trip West London, who's been completely rubbished. Look, I think even if a Premier League did come in, we'd rather he go abroad. And we all know that his overwhelming desire is to go to Spain. And if he gets the chance to go to the club he supported as a boy, then so be it. I'm not even fussed really with the £40 million fee. Yes, I'd want more, but you know what? Just to get him away from the club, just to get his wages off the book and say, thank you, Romero, for what you did in helping us get the Europa League. But the time has come now for you to depart and we go on to pastures new and like yourself. 40 million's 40 million. Yes, we'd want more, but if it gets him off the books and out of the club, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad to me. It's mad to me. You look at his performances at the World Cup. You look at his performances 4 years ago at the World Cup. You know, we've seen in a Spurs shirt how good he can be. We see in a Spurs shirt how bad he can be as well, to be fair. But 40 million is a very cheap price for Cuti Romero. And I think if he signs for Inter, he signs for Barca, automatically that valuation goes up at least 20 million in my opinion. So I think whoever gets him is getting a very good deal on a World Cup winner. And yeah, look, I think if you're not going to get higher than that, you can't keep him at the club anymore. So you just got to take what you can get, I guess.
Yeah, add to that as well, Ben. If someone said, let's say we were holding out for the 50 or 60, and no one came through, and it got to deadline day, and he didn't get a move, and he's around the club, that could cause issues in itself. An overload in defence. Is there is there a overwhelming need to say, right, he has to start to stop him going off on one or whatever, just to get him out the door? Like we said, whether we rate him or not, it's time to go. And 40 million to a Premier League team, not a chance. Abroad, it's 40 million back in the club's coffers. It's 40 million that De Zerbi has at his disposal. And if it means 40 million that goes towards the top drawer front line we need, then it will be money well received.
Yeah. I don't really care if he stays in the Premier League. I really don't. If a big offer comes from the Premier League and they're offering more than what Inter and Barcelona can offer, then he can go to the Premier League. I think anyone should be going to the highest bidder. I don't care who it comes from. Unless it's we should not be doing business with Arsenal and probably even Chelsea. But, he should go to the highest bidder. Why should it matter who he goes to?
I know where you're coming from, and I do. When we were having this discussion, when we were saying 40 or 60 Barca, I started off with Barca, and then I was kind of edging towards your opinion. But again, it's what Spurs need in regards to spending, and if it's 40 million and deal done, and it goes towards that electric front line or a very good front line, then the 20 million drop will be well worth it.
Yeah, but if we get 20 million more, then we can spend 20 million more.
We might not need to. We might not need to with all the outgoings.
We might not need to.
Got left.
That's true.
But it looks like there is no Premier League interest. Maybe if a formal bid comes in, it will spark some interest. I wouldn't want him going to Arsenal or Chelsea. If he, like you said, went to Manchester United or someone like that, I don't think I'd be too many sour grapes. But Arsenal and Chelsea, I bloody well would.
Let's move on and talk about Pape. So George Sessions kind of backing up the claims that I brought on the Tottenham update a few days ago from Spurs Journo, saying that there are no clubs that are currently willing to pay a decent price for Pape Matar Sarr. I mean, this is a bit of a fall from grace for Pape, isn't it? Like, you cast your mind back to that first season under Ange. His stock was so high. He was balling out week in, week out. And I think ever since he went to the AFCON that summer, it's just been a downwards trajectory from him. And now you're looking at it, and apparently no clubs are willing to meet a decent valuation for him, which is crazy in my opinion. I think there is a good player in there.
Well, do you know what? Do you know how sad it looks that we've got his name mentioned on this board here and there's not one club on one of those four cards?
I know.
That's quite sad. It's time to go for him again. You look at it, like you said, I think that blend of him and Bissouma for those first 10 games was hand in glove. And I actually think for some of the rest of that season, it was Sarr being the mentor and Bissouma the teacher, the student, the way the performances were. But the last few years, he just hasn't progressed. He started to show a bit of. He was great last pre-season under Frank. He started off obviously the Manchester City game. The Manchester City game, he was phenomenal. And then again, and probably down to Thomas Frank, he just stagnated. But he's been in now 4 years. He hasn't improved, and I think he does. I think he personally needs a new challenge because every time he does get going, something happens, and maybe the fresh challenge. But it's just a shame no one is coming in for him. But again, if you're looking at it right now, what would you say Pape Matar Sarr is?
I'd say he's a box-to-box midfielder. I'd say he's a box-to-box midfielder.
Exactly. I mean, you look at it. What value-wise, what would you put him at? Oh, it's got there 30 million. I think that's a bit steep.
That's his valuation on transfer market, 30 million. I think it's euros, not pounds.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we're getting anything above 15, 20 million for him.
What do we pay for him? Around that as well?
Yeah, I can't remember what we actually paid for him, but yeah, it must have been around that sort of figure. So yeah, I don't know. It's a sad case of Pape Matar Sarr.
There's someone in the comments just now as I look over to them from Cameron, and he's put, I think he means loan him out. I mean, if we can't get a valuation for him, surely a loan with a option or obligation might spark some people's interest. But yeah, how much did we get him for?
I'm not too sure. I think it must have been around about the £15 million mark, 10, £15 million, something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of people saying around 10 to 15 mil. So we won't even get a great profit on him. But I think he desperately needs a new challenge.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll get it.
But look, I don't know where he's going to end up. But, you know, the way it's going with the interest that he's in, he might end up somewhere like Turkey or Saudi or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to Saudi, he'll be a happy boy, won't he, wage-wise? But you look at that and you look at the midfielders we have, he's not going to get game time. He's just not going to get it. So surely, I mean, maybe Spurs will look at, like Connor said, a loan move. A loan with an option might be the way forward with him.
I reckon with Pape, some interest will get generated at some point, and maybe like towards the end of the window, there could be a little bit of a late flurry for Pape. Because look, at the end of the day, you know, the World Cup's just finished, so the real action of the transfer window is really going to start to kick into gear now. So let's see.
You know what? You know what, Ben? I think there's some other team around the world that are telling their fans, like we've been told years and years and years, we're waiting for the right opportunity, and then we'll move. I think Pape Matar Sarr might, nearer the end of the window, be an opportunity that some clubs act on. So I think this may develop nearer the end of the window.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to Jed. So George Sessions saying that Jed Spence is not pushing for a move away from Tottenham, and Tottenham are not actively trying to sell him. However, if a big offer comes in, they would accept it. There's reports in Italy now saying that Inter Milan have decided not to proceed for Jed Spence at the moment. Tottenham's £40 million plus valuation of the defender is deemed too excessive for Inter Milan. So, I mean, that's positive, in my opinion, because, you know, I like I've mentioned so many times, I like the dynamics of having him and Porro on the right. You got a Doggy and Robertson on the left, and Spence, you know, he can fill in on both sides. So if he's not pushing for a move and Spurs aren't actively looking to sell, and only, you know, a big offer is going to force our hand, then I think that's exactly where we should be, to be honest.
Yeah, as I've said, especially when I've been with you or still on updates, I'm not opposed to him leaving. I really am. I'm not. And that's just because I think we've seen that his best position is left back. We've got a ton of them. I can't see him getting minutes there. We know Porro is number one right back. And if you can get him out and get someone like a Neco Williams in, then that is really good cover. And someone that can offer something different to Porro defensively and offensively. He doesn't have the passing. He has to get him forward. So I'm not opposed to him going, but like you said, I'm not like, right, I want him out the door. He's got to go. It's like if there's no bids for him, and Spurs don't want to sell him, then brilliant. If he can show what he did at the World Cup in a Spurs shirt, because how many times did we see him on the left wing last season and he cut back in?
You got to remember though, the times that we saw him there was under Frank and under Igor Tudor. Yeah,
and that's the thing. And also with De Zerbi, we talk about him dropping Graham Bergvall for Paulinho and Bentancur. Well, he dropped Spence for Destiny and Porro. So I think the main part of this is if Jed Spence wants to move. If Jed Spence starts getting his head turned, because obviously after what he's had World Cup wise, is he going to want to play second fiddle when he's 25 years old now? Been at us, 4-5 years? Yeah. And hasn't. Only time he has nailed left back down a constant run is when we don't have a left back to play there. So I think that this move hinges on whether he says, right, listen, I'm not playing second fiddle. But if he stays, an asset. If he goes, as long as there is a suitable replacement, I'm not too bothered about it.
Yeah, and after his World Cup exploits, that's probably put a bit of money on his valuation as well. So I'm kind of comfortable either way. I agree. I'm like that as well. But I would probably side on, if I give me a proper preference, I'll probably side on keeping him at this moment in time.
Well, I'm slightly on the other side, but that's for the reasons I said. If we were short on left back, I'll be like, absolutely not a chance, blah, blah, blah. And if we didn't know how much De Zerbi loves Porro and how regular and how available Porro is, again, I'd probably be saying, yeah, do you know what we doing? But again, sentimentality and whatever, it's what De Zerbi sees going forward as his team. And if Spence is surplus to requirements, then we've got to roll with it.
Someone's made a good point in the chat back on Pape, like maybe Al Nassr would pick him up with Ange being the manager there now.
Yep, that's a great point. And you did mention you never know, French league, Metz could, or not Metz, but he's known in the French league. But yeah, it's a great shout. That's a great shout.
Dane Scarlett, George Sessions saying on Dane that he looks very likely to depart Tottenham this summer. It's a shame with Dane, isn't it? Because, you know, I had really high hopes for Dane. He was definitely one of the best finishers that we've had at the club for many years now, obviously post Harry Kane and post Sonny. I remember being out in Korea and watching him on one of the open training sessions, and, you know, unbelievable finisher, really is unbelievable finisher. But his career has just never got going. You know, loan spell after loan spell, nothing really successful. He went out to, you know, try and kickstart his career at Scotland. I think he went to Hibs last season. Poor showing, really. So, yeah, unfortunately, he's probably going to have to go down the leagues to kickstart his career.
Well, not even that, mate. I like you thought this was going to be a very good player coming through our ranks that we could rely on for goals, and it just hasn't worked out. I even remember when we were on loan to Portsmouth, the Portsmouth manager was waxing lyrical about him at the beginning, and then it just dropped off. And I kind of wish with Dane Scarlett, like a lot of these youngsters are doing, they'd gone like a Troy Parris, said, you know what, my career's stagnating here, and rather than going Championship, League One, if a chance to spread my wings and go abroad, and I'm not going to count Scotland as blooming abroad, to go and try and kickstart my career in a European league, I think he would have stood a better chance and really could have grown into something and shown what he's made of. But no matter what we've tried with him, it's not working. If we'd said at one point he's our number one striker or number two, there would have been uproar, and rightfully so. It's one that's just not worked, and it's really unfortunate because I thought he would break through.
The thing is, right, like, I get what you're saying about abroad, but he did go to Scotland, and he went to... You look at the difference Mikey Moore made and Dane Scarlett made in their loans in Scotland, and Dane Scarlett's a 22-year-old, you know, getting into a man, and he had to go there and smash it. He had to. And, you know, he started off with a lot of minutes and then gradually, as time went on, got relegated to the bench. And he did score one goal. And funnily enough, that was against Rangers and Mikey Moore. But, yeah, I was really disappointed that he did, because I thought he was going to go smash it out in the SPL. And it was a really poor loan spell for him. So let's hope we find the right move for him. It won't be a loan. It's going to be a permanent. So let's see where he ends up. But last but not least, let's talk about Decky, because there's a little bit of an update on Decky. And George Sessions says he thinks that Tottenham will have Dejan Kulusevski back at some point during the first half of the season. So at some point. So there's no real time frame on it. But that's more positive than saying we have no idea when he's going to come back and you're never going to see him again. So if he's going to be back at some point during the first half of the season, that is majorly positive in my opinion.
So I'm trying, as you know, I've approached this new House of Zen, relaxed, easy going, and I'm going to stick to it. But with this one, this is nonsense, as in the timeline. Although I know there'll be a Twitter account that said, there's a Twitter account that goes, the handle's like, has Decky played football today? And he just goes, Dave, whatever, no. And that's it. Every single day he does it. We've gone from, it's a slight knock originally, to that it's worse than first feared, to that when I was back in England, he's gone to Barcelona for an injection, and we'll find out 3 weeks later, which was when the January window would have closed. So he's making progress, to seeing him playing basketball and kicking balls quite freely with a goalkeeper in the net. To, yep, he's going to be, and seeing all these things, now to be told first half of the season. Now
At least
that
it's
could
not
be all
second
mind
half of the
games.
season.
Mate, this is just with the. This is where you look at it. Like we were talking the other day with Jamie Donnelly, and maybe he'll stay because of Maddison coming back from injury, full pre-season. Obviously, Xavi's not ready. Maybe there is a need for that kind of player. This is not this for me. I appreciate what Decky's going through. I think he's a great player. On his day, we've seen what he can do, but this is just getting beyond ridiculous now.
I mean,
This
so
is getting beyond
basically
ridiculous.
what he's saying, that he could be back at some point before the end of the year. That's what he's saying.
From a slight knock, May 2025, 4, 5.
Yeah.
A slight knock to he could be back before 2027.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
That's the
It's-
Spurs medical team for you.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? Because, like, on his day, this guy can be such a top player, and he would have such a major impact for us if we could get him fit, back to his best. But the reality was, even if he makes it to be part of the squad before the end of the year, how long is it actually going to take him to get back to being, like, proper back to where he was and up to speed with things? It's going to take him ages.
Well, let me ask you a question. I asked this on Tottenham on Tour and the coffee show yesterday. If we were to sell Decky this window, how much do you honestly think, top dollar, people in the chat, with the injury record that he's had, and let's face it, he picks up an injury that knocks him out for 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever, every year. Right now, if Spurs were to sell, what do you reckon?
Nothing.
You don't reckon?
He has no value right now, in my opinion. Because this injury is too up in the air. Nobody knows what's going on with it, you know?
But for someone to chuck a Hail Mary, if you were chairman of a club...
I don't think anyone's putting any money down for Decky right now. Nobody.
It'll be interesting to see what the chat say. Because I couldn't work it out. I would sell him. And then Ben said, you're going to get nothing for him. I don't know how long he's got in his contract. And I'm not saying cancel his contract or anything, but... How long is we're going on about? We can't wait for the ones.
You
for the
can't
future.
sell him. He's unsellable right now. You can't. It's impossible.
It's a shame. It's a shame because, like I said, we know what he can do, and he has this like 2-3 month period where he is so heavily involved in everything we do.
Yeah,
he's integral, and then obviously we get to the overplayed and undervalued. We knacker him out, and his performances dip. And we don't see him again properly at that level for ages. It's such a tough situation. But now to hear, like you said, the first half of this season, this just keeps going worse and worse.
Yeah, it does leave me feeling a bit more positive because before seeing first half of the season, there was no time frame whatsoever. So at least we have some sort of vague timeline now. So it leaves me feeling a little bit more positive. But yeah, I get the frustrations. But yeah, definitely not sellable right now. Until he gets on that pitch, he's not sellable.
Well, we know that Rafi Mawson has come in and is working wonders. We've just brought 2 medical team in. Let's hopefully they'll get there and they'll be like, yeah, he'll be back in a month.
Yeah.
And then there he is. Look, if he comes back sooner than that could be, again, just the worst case scenario and what Spurs or whatever wanted released. For me, that's just... It's a massive long wait again. And do Spurs keep hoping and going, yeah, he'll be back. And then when we've got him, we've got this player back. I mean, don't think...
What other option is there? There is no other option because you can't sell him. You can't loan him.
You can't.
What can you do?
You can cut his contract, but we won't. How many years has he got left on his contract?
2 years.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way: if he comes back halfway through the year and then gets to the end of the season, do Spurs even extend his contract, or do they say we're going to wait to see what you do in January, and then January obviously he can start talking?
You
to
cannot.
teams.
There's not going to be any conversations of that until we see him on the pitch, see what kind of state he's in, how long it takes him to get back to full fitness. You know, it's so up in the air. It's so up in the air. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So it's such a shame for him as well because before he got this injury, literally just before he got given the captaincy of his national team, he was doing bits for Spurs.
Had a kid.
Everything was going, upwards, and then we haven't seen him for like it's going to be what, a year and a half or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can't see how he gets another Spurs contract.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today.